There are moments in life when everything aligns. The sun, the stars, the ancestors, and Google Maps glitching at the exact right time. That's how Rihanna Fenty, billionaire boss queen of Barbados, skincare sorceress and global hitmaker, accidentally wandered into a Maasai initiation ceremony in Kenya, and somehow walked out as an honorary elder. Not an ambassador, not an influencer. Elder. Rihanna didn't just visit Kenya. She transcended. Welcome to CurioVerse, where celebrities meet Africa, and Africa looks back with a knowing smile saying, "You thought you were just passing through? Nah, you're family now." If you're here for chaotic storytelling, billionaire breakdowns and cultural crossovers that hit harder than a leather slipper at a village meeting, buckle up. Smash that like, punch that subscribe, and tell your cousin to stop hogging your Wi-Fi. This story needs HD loading. It all began in early 2025 with a cryptic Instagram story from Rihanna. Just 3 words, no context. "I need peace." Fans went feral. Was it a new album? A Fenty-branded meditation app? A line of incense sticks called Savage Zen? Theories flooded X, from Rihanna's going gospel to she's launching a yoga retreat in Bali. But nah, sis was over the noise. Paparazzi, tabloids, the endless churn of fame. She needed a reset. So she booked a spontaneous trip to Kenya. Private jet, minimal entourage, just her stylist and a security guy named Marcus who doubled as her vibe curator. And one suitcase packed with sunscreen, high fashion, and a bottle of her favorite Bajan hot pepper sauce. Her destination? A luxury safari lodge nestled in the rolling Ngong Hills, where the views are so Instagrammable they could make a warthog look editorial. The lodge was secluded, serene, and perfect for a billionaire seeking solitude. Day 1 was pure bliss. Rihanna sipping hibiscus tea at sunrise, snapping selfies with giraffes, and testing Fenty Beauty's new foundation under Kenya's golden light. Her caption? "Even the zebras know I'm that girl." The post racked up 15 million likes in an hour. Kenyan influencers flooded the comments with Karibu Kenya and heart eyes emojis. A Nairobi-based makeup artist tweeted, "Rihanna's glow in that Ngong light? Fenty skin is working overtime." But by day 2, Rihanna was restless. The lodge was stunning, but it felt curated, like a glossy postcard of Africa designed for rich tourists. She wanted something raw, unfiltered, real. So she turned to her tour guide, a lanky 20-something named Brian who'd been silently bumping work on his Nokia 3310 since 2016. "Brian," she said, adjusting her oversized Fendi shades, "take me somewhere real, not this curated stuff. I want true Kenya vibes." Brian's eyes lit up like he'd been waiting his whole life for this moment. He nodded solemnly, as if accepting a sacred mission. "Say less," he said, and whipped out his phone to text his cousin Daniel, a part-time boda rider in Kajiado County. "Yo, is the Atana happening today?" Daniel's reply was quick. "Yup. Bring whoever. Just no cameras, no drama." The Atana, for the uninitiated, is a sacred Maasai coming-of-age ceremony, a rite of passage steeped in centuries of tradition. It's not a music festival. It's not a TikTok backdrop. It's a profound celebration of identity, pride, and community, complete with chants, dances, and yes, spears. Did Brian explain any of this to Rihanna? Of course not. He just grinned and said, "It's a community event. Super local. You'll love it." Rihanna, intrigued and trusting Brian's vibe, hopped into a dusty Land Cruiser. She was rocking a custom Balenciaga cloak that looked like it was designed for this exact moment. Flowing, dramatic, and somehow dust-resistant. Marcus, the security guy, muttered, "This feels like a side quest," but climbed in anyway. And so, with the Ngong Hills fading in the rear view and a playlist of Sauti Sol and Burna Boy bumping through Brian's crackly speakers, they set off for Kajiado. The road to the village was a roller coaster of bumps and dust, but the vibes were immaculate. Rihanna leaned out the window, taking in the vast savanna dotted with acacia trees and grazing goats. This is what I needed, she said, snapping a quick story with the caption, Kenya, you're speaking my language. As they neared the village, the air grew thick with the sound of rhythmic chants and the faint jingle of beaded jewelry. A group of Maasai warriors appeared on the horizon, leaping in perfect sync, their red shukas billowing like superhero capes in the wind. Rihanna's jaw dropped. Yo, is this a movie set? She whispered. Brian, grinning like a kid who just aced a math test, said, Nope, this is real. Here's where the chaos kicked in. The Maasai don't do half-hearted hospitality. When you step into their space, you're not a tourist, you're family. And when Rihanna stepped out of the Land Cruiser, the village erupted. Women ululated, their high-pitched calls echoing across the plains. Warriors paused mid-leap to stare. Elders, seated under a massive acacia tree, nodded with the kind of approval usually reserved for a prize cow. And then, someone, nobody knows who, shouted in Ma. She is here. The one from the west has arrived. The crowd lost it. Rihanna, still processing, raised her hands in gratitude, flashing her signature smile. The ululations grew louder. Children ran forward, giggling and pointing at her Balenciaga cloak, which shimmered like it was woven from starlight. Before Brian could explain that this was all a massive misunderstanding, an elder named Ola Nassarian, with a face carved from wisdom and a staff that looked older than time, approached. He inspected Rihanna like a human ape, scanning her from head to toe. His eyes lingered on her forehead, her posture, the way she carried herself with unbothered confidence. Finally, he spoke. You have the forehead of a lioness, the posture of a rain goddess. You are ready. Rihanna blinked. Ready for what? But before Brian could stammer out a clarification, a group of women swept forward, draping her in a beaded necklace that weighed as much as a small child, and handing her a ceremonial staff carved with intricate patterns. Another elder tossed a goatskin cape over her shoulders, and somehow it matched her Balenciaga perfectly. Brian tried to intervene. Wait, she's just visiting. An elder clapped him into silence with a single look. This is destiny. Let it be. And just like that, Rihanna was pulled gently but firmly into the center of the Etana circle. The Etana was in full swing now, and it was a spectacle. Drums pounded like the heartbeat of the earth. Warriors leaped so high it seemed they were negotiating with gravity. Women sang in haunting harmonies, their voices weaving stories of courage and lineage. Rihanna, caught in the whirlwind, didn't resist. She clapped to the rhythm, swayed to the chants, and even attempted a little warrior hop that had the crowd cheering. Then came the pivotal moment. An elder woman named Supat, with beads in her hair and a smile that could calm a storm, approached with a small clay pot of red ochre. She dipped her fingers in the mixture and painted a sacred mark on Rihanna's forehead. The wind picked up, as if the ancestors themselves were co-signing the moment. Rihanna's Fenty highlighter mingled with the ochre, creating what villagers later called ancestral shimmer. A young girl, no older than 6, tugged at her mother's shuka and whispered, She glows like Nassarian, the morning star. The high elder, a man named Ole Koinet, raised his hand for silence. In a voice that carried the weight of centuries, he declared in Ma, We welcome her not as a tourist, but as one of us, a warrior in spirit. From today, she shall be known as Nasiku Fenty, the one who walks between storms. The crowd erupted in cheers, ululations, and stomping feet. Rihanna, still processing, leaned over to Brian and whispered, Did I just get adopted? Brian, sweating profusely, nodded. You might have just been promoted. The ceremony continued with Rihanna fully immersed. She joined the women in a traditional dance, her Balenciaga cloak swirling alongside their shukas. She tried her hand at milking a goat and failed spectacularly, spraying milk everywhere, which made the kids howl with laughter. She even took a sip of fermented milk from a gourd, grimaced, then said, Okay, I respect it, but this ain't my vibe. By sunset, she was sitting by a bonfire, surrounded by elders who treated her like she'd been born in the village. They gifted her a handcrafted shield etched with a lion's face, a lion tooth pendant, ethically sourced, don't worry, and the sacred title of Wazi Wa Roho, Elder of Soul. Rihanna, sipping fresh goat milk and clearly having the time of her life, asked, "Can I come back next month?" Old Koinet smiled. "You never leave." While Rihanna was vibing in Kajiado, the internet was having a meltdown. Brian, despite the no cameras rule, had snuck a blurry photo of Rihanna in her ceremonial cape and posted it to his WhatsApp status with the caption, "Riri ni wetu sasa, Riri is ours now." The photo leaked to X, and Kenyan Twitter went into overdrive. Rihanna just unlocked elder level. You? Still asking for M-Pesa. If she drops a banger in Ma, it's over for everyone. She didn't come to play. She came to slay tradition. Global tabloids, as usual, got it all wrong. Rihanna abandons music to become Maasai? Fenty Skin launching traditional ochre line? Has Rihanna joined a warrior cult? But the real magic was happening on social media. Fan art flooded X, depicting Rihanna as a Maasai warrior queen with a spear in one hand and a Fenty gloss bomb in the other. TikTok exploded with the hashtag Nasieku Fenty challenges, where users draped themselves in red shawls and lip-synced to Diamonds while pretending to milk goats. Someone remixed Umbrella with Maasai chants, creating a viral banger. Under my Nkaji, Ella. Celebrities chimed in. Drake tweeted, "Yo, they doing rites of passage over there?" Burna Boy commented, "Sister is now spiritual. I see you." Beyoncé sent a private DM that simply said, "You're glowing, sis." The village, meanwhile, became an overnight sensation. Tourism to Kajiado spiked by 800%, with influencers and backpackers descending in droves, hoping to get their own Rihanna moment. But Rihanna wasn't about to let her accidental visit turn the village into a tourist trap. She quietly launched the Fenty Impact Fund for Maasai communities, funneling proceeds from her next album to support education, preserve traditions, and provide scholarships for girls. Speaking of that album, oh baby. Rihanna didn't just return to Barbados and forget her Maasai moment. She channeled it into Shuka and Soul, a genre-defying masterpiece that blended Afrobeat, R&B, and traditional Maasai rhythms. The intro track featured an authentic chant recorded by the women of the village, their voices soaring over a beat that felt like the Rift Valley itself. The music video for the lead single, Stormwalker, was shot entirely in Kajiado. It opened with Rihanna emerging from the savannah, draped in a Shuka-inspired gown, holding the ceremonial staff like a scepter. Warriors leaped in the background, goats made cameos. The final scene showed her standing under an acacia tree, the ochre mark glowing on her forehead. Critics lost their minds. Rolling Stone called it a love letter to Africa, wrapped in Rihanna's unapologetic swagger. Kenyan fans flooded X with pride. Rihanna said Shuka and Soul, and now I'm ready to fight for my heritage. Of course, haters emerged. A music blog called Shuka and Soul Too Experimental, whining that it was Rihanna trying to be deep. X users shut it down with one viral thread. Rihanna became an elder in a day. You? Still arguing about Spotify Wrapped. Rihanna's time in Kajiado was brief but seismic. She didn't just visit, she became part of the fabric. In her Vogue interview months later, she reflected, "That day, I felt like I wasn't just visiting Africa. I was returning to something deep, real, unshakable. That's bigger than fame or charts." The village never forgot her. The shield she was gifted hangs in the community center, next to a photo of her laughing with Supat. Kids in Kajiado now call their best dance moves the Nasiku Hop. And every year, on the anniversary of her visit, the village holds a mini Etana in her honor, complete with a Rihanna playlist and a mocktail called Ancestral Shimmer. Sometimes destiny doesn't roll out a red carpet. It shows up with red ochre, a ceremonial staff, and a title you didn't know you were ready for. Rihanna didn't come to Kenya to take. She came to connect. She didn't appropriate. She appreciated. She amplified a culture and left it stronger. Only on CurioVerse do you get stories like this, where pop stars become elders, goats become VIPs, and fashion becomes spiritual armor. If you laughed, gasped, or started Googling Maasai baby names, why not hit like and smash subscribe? Also, make sure you share this with your crew, your cousin who stands Rihanna, your elder who thinks YouTube is witchcraft, and that friend who needs a cultural wake-up call. Because legends aren't born, sometimes they just wander into the right village and leave crowned by the ancestors. Until next time, stay bold, stay blessed, and remember, Africa doesn't need to trend, it sets the trends. Fire emoji globe emoji.